All right, well, when I start my project, I try to look for like a ballpark BPM. You know, what tempo do I want to produce in? Am I going for like a full-on trance track, big up-tempo stuff, or am I going for something slower? So let's, for the sake of this project, let's go with a 130 BPM tempo, and just to get a bit of an anchor straight away, it would be nice to actually start with a kick. You know, this doesn't have to be the kick that is going to be in the track straight away, but just to get started. So let me just come up with something here and here, and let's just give this a bit of an edit. Let's clean it up a little. Just for now. So, here's my kick. That's pretty good for now. Let's start there. So usually when I start, I feel that there's always a real. I mean, we're making dance music in the end, and dance music for me is sort of like the interaction between the way the bass does a certain groove in combination with the drums, obviously. So if I were to start with bass right now, I always look for for like almost like a more round type of bass to carry the track. You know, and very often the groove is not where the bass notes hit, but it's often very much in the empty spaces, you know, where you can find the groove. So very often a bass that I just get would be very simple, sort of. I just grab Nexus. You know, Nexus is always very straightforward. Has like the it's like ready to go. Not much. You don't have to really look for sounds too much just to get started, right? I mean, all the tweaking and all the crazy other stuff that you want to do, you can always do that later. So if I were to go for a bass, I would just look for like for example, this one here. This is really cool that I use a lot for starting. It's like let me look it up. It's like roll bass 1 or 2. I don't know which one. Yeah, this. See, this is a great sound to just start with. So if I were going to put this on the bass. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's pretty cool. Let's start with that. Then we would go to just here to just edit the whole thing. I have to resize quickly, guys, because I'm using a super wide screen normally. So here we go. Let's quantize everything for now. Loud. Let's go for same length, and then we'll figure out how that works later. Especially in the beginning of my process, I like to keep things very fluid and open and liquid, and everything can just change as we go. Really, keep that freedom. you can hear, this is like a deeper, warmer sort of sound, and that is what's carrying the track. Even if I start playing with other bass lines or bass sounds over the top of this, that is what's defining the groove of the track throughout. Just to give it a bit more punch. Literally spike it up a bit, gives it a bit of an attack. Even though Nexus has great onboard effects, that's not what I use. I really like to be a bit more in control here, and on my bass sounds I use it as an insert. Let's put a bit of a room sound. Now you can see that this thing is clipping. This is what I will be doing throughout the whole process. You can see that it's clipping here. I want to make sure that I gain stage everything so nothing is already clipping in the early process and becoming a problem later on. So I would just bring this down a little so it's not clipping anymore so much. This is like too much of a washed out one, so let's just go. Now it's, as you can hear, the reverb is right on top of the bass notes, but you can also play with this reverb as if it were a delay. Now, this is a little trick that I always do. I would just go get my calculator. And then I'm doing 60 seconds divided by the 60 seconds divided by the tempo. This is your quarter note, but I want to have it like eighths, so I divide this by 230. So if I put my pre-delay for now on 230, that's too far out, so let's go to 16th divided by 2, 115. Still a little much, but make this shorter. Let's give it 230, just lower it. Clean it up as we go. I have a lot of aftertouch stuff here that I don't need. So if we go to make this a little bit more pronounced, make more 8 notes, and clean up the overlaps. All right, you can already hear that it's sort of like fighting with that bass line, with that kick drum in the low end. So I would start for now by putting a bit of a side chainer on it. This will clean up things nicely. And here you can actually control which part of the frequency is being ducked. So, you know, since it's just a low end, and I might like the higher part of it, I can have the higher frequencies untouched and just having the low end sidechain. But we're going to automate all of this in a bit, once we're a bit further in the track. Okay, so this has a nice little pace. Maybe this kick obviously needs a bit more, it's more like a reverby kick almost. Let's give it a bit of a real punch. Let's see what I have here. Okay, I always try to rename things really nicely as well, so I know what's going on. Check this out in the beginning as well. That's actually really good. So there's a 130 loop. Let's turn off the auto crossfades, so because it will start swallowing stuff. Now these two together are complementing each other really nicely. I just need to because I want to just get that sort of like tail end of this. Don't really need the low end because I want to get that out of the punch kick. There we go. This can be much lower in the mix. And maybe this can actually use a bit of an extra sort of attack type of hit. With this track, let's just go for a bit of an 80s type of vibe, okay? That's something that I'm really feeling nowadays. I love the instrumentation from back in those days, especially with all the synths and the plugins that are coming out nowadays with Roland Cloud and so many of these Arturia things. All those old synths coming back. It's just great. I love that sound. So let's just, for the sake of this process, just stick with the 80s type of vibe. And a typical sound of a kick is that was used then a lot was this 707 type of stuff. And I think I already don't want to have this in it. See, it's just a real sort of little pointy kick that is just perfect for like an attack. And then the three together. How are we mixing it? That's going to be later in the track, but I think the way the three kicks stacked on top complement each other will work really well. So one gives it that sort of spaciousness. That's the first kick that I put there. Then the actual punch, you know, is the second one. And for that little sort of presence in the mix later on, this first attack of the last kick that I put in there will be welcome. So let's go back to the bass lines. We have this kick now. This is the bass line we have so far.